Today is Monday, May 19th, 2025. It's a small red day for me. I'm down about 50 bucks, which is like 1.9%. I initially started off, I hit two good moves back to back on some breaking news stocks in the pre market, and I was up about 110 bucks. I made a move on a third stock, and I just made a really poorly placed entry, and the stock was moving a little more than I wanted it to. Looking back, I should have not even messed with it at that point, but it's part of the learning curve, I guess. And I lost all my profit and ended up red a little bit. That stock was PTIX, and it's been the biggest mover of the day. It's up about 300%, and I lost all my profit on the stock that's up 300% for the day. So that makes me feel silly. Um, Today's lesson, I think, is going to be kind of starting to incorporate capping my profits. There's been 3 days in my recent memory where I've been up over 3% green, and then I've gave back most of it. Two of those days I've actually ended up red on the day. So I think I'm going to start hitting kind of being done if I hit like 3 or 3.5% in the green on the day. I think I'm just going to call that good and walk around knowing I had a strong green day. Um, my baseline goal is green 1%. So if I can hit 3 or 4% in the green, that's a very strong day for me. And I don't want to mess it up. I've messed that up um, enough here recently that it's kind of frustrating knowing that I should be up a little further ahead than I am. Not to mention just the fact that it's part of that over trading. You get so excited. I hit 2 for 2 this morning. I was like, well, I can't mess it up. I'm 2 for 2, and then boom, I shit the bed, lost all my profit, and ended up red. So I think incorporating that kind of cap on my day, um, it's gonna make me wonder if I could have done better, but there's nothing wrong with walking around with 3 or 4 times my daily goal. So I think I'm going to try doing that from now on, and let that give me some peace of mind, and hopefully I can build up some green days and kind of get a streak going and build my confidence up here. Um, that's my Monday. All right, my first move of the day, BCLI. I caught this chart right here on this second big green candle. It was breaking news. I ended up making an entry on this candle. I got in kind of late. I filled at 227 and I got out at 243, which would have been on this red candle. I held as this candle grew, hoping that we were going to break through the 250s and hit the $3 mark, which we did. But we didn't hold at $3 very long. We pretty quickly flushed back down, and I got out here at 243. So I made 16 cents on this. If I would have committed earlier, I could have done better with the profit. My target was $3, so either way, my exit wasn't going to be great because I wasn't planning on getting out until we kind of started coming back down pretty heavily. And then the next candle started off red and just kind of stayed red the whole time. So that was my exit sign. I got out. I still made a good bit of profit and a good way to start the morning. Second move of the day on NAOV. I caught this one again. It turned out to be a quick pump and dump, but I got it on breaking news. I first saw this after I heard it on the scanner. It was still forming this first green candle. I kind of watched it form, waiting to see what happens next. This candle started going green. I got in. I didn't make the best entry. I would have liked to got in the high 80s, early 90s. I ended up filling at 202. Still kind of the way this was going, I was expecting it to kind of shoot up to 250 at least. We had a quick flash to 239. I didn't really hold there. I kept holding through this candle, though, to see what the next candle brung, and it happened to be a red kind of doji candle. Ended up making an exit there. I'm happy with my exit. I would have liked to have committed earlier to this, but I wanted to see where this was going to go, because I know here lately we've been having quite a few pump and dumps, and that was quite a quick acceleration there. And I'm still pretty happy with this. I made 22 cents a share. Good second move for me. This brought me up to a 4% green on the day after my first green trade as well. So I was very happy at this point. Here's my third trade of the day and where it all went wrong. This was PTIX. It was hit the scanners around 6:45 this morning. It ended up being one of the biggest movers of the day. It topped out around 300% gain. This morning it was hovering around $3, and by this afternoon it was at $13. I'll show you where I started seeing this stock was this second huge green candle here. This candle was still being formed when I caught it on the scanner and started watching. I didn't like this. I wanted to wait for the next candle to see my entry. I didn't like what was going on here. We kind of had a reversal here, a huge green candle again. So I knew my next candle was going to tell me yes or no. I ended up getting in here on this doji. It didn't quite form a doji when I first got in. I got in pretty early during the candle, and it was kind of starting to spike up. It hit around 725 or so on this doji candle. I got filled at 718. It kind of hovered around there briefly, and then the next candle just completely shit the bed on me. I had to exit here. I had no telling where it was going to go. I had already seen my previous trade. It was a total pump and dump, so I was afraid this was going to crash even harder than it did. I lost all of my profit from my first two trades here, and I ended up losing an extra 48 bucks, putting me red on the day. This stock, man, looking back now, I should have waited a little longer. I just thought it was going to start ripping up here, and clearly it didn't. The way these candles had been forming, the last thing I expected here was going to be a doji. I thought we'd have at least a huge green candle here once it kind of initially started going up that way. That wasn't the case, obviously, and then we had a huge dump, and I lost all my profit. It kind of went sideways for a while, and then it just started kind of slowly climbing the way. Like I said, this stock ended up going all the way to $13. It was like a 300% gainer on the day, and I lost all my profit on this stock. That's just how it goes.